I'm always blown away by you. And this performance again, it kind of, you too. I mean, you guys have such a great connection here. Was it difficult to kind of refine these characters? Did you change your approach as to your preparation in any way?
For me, it's a little bit less preparation. I think just because we'd sort of already found the base of the character before in the first movie with Gary, kind of just setting up who they are and sort of finding that was already there. But they changed and grew so much from the first movie to the second movie. So there's definitely a lot of like re-evaluating sort of where they're going next. But as far as like finding the base level of the character, for me, it was definitely easier on this than the first one.
Nice. What about you?
Yeah, but it's always different for me. Because there is no like one way to act. So every kind of situation takes something different. Sometimes it takes no preparation, but sometimes it takes a little bit more. I don't know. And she is growing and changing. So some things change and some things remain the same.
Well, I kind of like the fact that they talk about these characters. Well, let's just splash their wedding on the news, and then we'll show how really crappy life really is. Mm-hmm. Do you find that? Are you kind of like, yeah, I know that feeling? Yeah. Yeah,
I mean, we definitely know how it feels to, you know, people have this. People have a tendency to feel very entitled once somebody's already in the public, and once people feel that there's like this unsatiated need for more information that they're frankly not entitled to. And that happens, you know, that does, yeah, and that is the danger when you keep feeding that and you keep giving people that and they want more and more, which is how we ended up in this world, you know, in the future, if you were to continue to play into that.
And you've been in this business for a long time. Mm-hmm. Have you kind of seen it change for you? The more, especially you've become huge with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely changed. I mean, for me, I still want the same things that I wanted when I first started, which was to make cool movies and tell cool stories and, you know, play different characters and try to push myself to the limits. And so I still definitely want the same things. I mean, it's become easier and harder in some respects. Easier now, like with a movie like this, you get more attention, so you can do more projects that you love, and you can do projects that are like more of a passion project, which is awesome to be able to do that. But there's also exactly what Jennifer was just talking about, which was the other side of it, that is something that you really can't fully explain to somebody because it sounds so kind of stupid and mundane compared to all the cool things we get to do. But when you actually, I came up with this idea that was, for those who don't have it, what we get seems like a lot, and for those who've never lost it, what we lose doesn't seem like much. Like losing your privacy doesn't seem like a whole big deal compared to all the cool things you get to do. But really, once you've lost it, it's like it's you can't get it back, and it's really it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it seems like it'd be kind of a difficult process just to have your name printed somewhere when you know it's bullshit.
Yeah, that is a hard
that's
thing.
frustrating.
That's something that I can't even.
For me, that doesn't even bother me so much, because really the people that I care about their opinion more so are the people that are close to me, and they know the truth. They know who I really am and what I really think.
I think it's just the audacity, and that it's legal to just
that part,
something that comes out of the middle of nowhere and is spurred on by nothing. Like there are so many stories that literally come from no truth, and it just seems so wrong that somebody can like publicly
slander.
Like it, yeah, it is. Like that's something like that's just not true. Even if it isn't bad, it's like that's not true. How can you just say that?
Yeah. Wow.
It's always gonna make you mad, no matter what.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah. It's like middle school when, like, you know, Kelsey tells a lie about you. You're like,
Kelsey, it's always Kelsey.
Come on.
She's full of shit, man.
Yeah, Kelsey.
I fucking hate Kelsey.
I hate Kelsey too.
First of all, I have to tell you that when I first saw you, my mom took me to see Invasion of the Body Snatchers when I was way too young.
Yeah.
And from then on, I was hooked. You were one of my favorite actors.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Now, the thing I like about what you do is a lot of people can take a quote-unquote villain, written villain, and turn it into something different. That's what you do here. How do you find that?
He doesn't think he's a villain. He thinks he's an administrator. He thinks he's a president. I mean, he was very, very ambitious, and he contrived to become it by poisoning all his competition. So he knows he's ruthless and merciless, and expedient. You know, he was grooming Seneca Crane in the first film to be his successor. Mm-hmm. And Seneca Crane killed him, and failed him, and he killed him. In essence, the first person who's been a possibility to be a successor to him that he could die with is Katniss Everdeen. She has all the talent, all the skills, she has the instinct, she has the wit. And at the moment she's in the arms of these revolutionary people who were trying to overthrow his government. Were trying to get food, little staples like that. And he's trying to convert her by threats and connivance and rewards to come over to his side. He doesn't say that to her, but that's the chess game that he's playing, and he loses. And then, it doesn't make any difference. It's still filled with joy and love and pleasure, this battle, even if he loses it.
Well, I like the fact that there is that humanistic approach where you have your own granddaughter saying, oh, I want to look like her. I want to be her.
Yeah, which is a bit discouraging because she's got the same goddamn hair as Katniss Everdeen, and you know, it's just another piece of the puzzle that I've lost.
Now, when you prepared for this, did you look at the books? Did you say, okay, I want to read this guy? Or did you kind of just take it by the script and find him from there?
This script had like 2 lines in it. Sure. I was sent the script by my agent and Larry Gelper, and he sent it to me, and I'll be finished in a minute. We have 4 minutes. It's just impossible, and because I talk in paragraphs. And he sent it to me, and just for the pleasure of reading it. And I said, I really want to be a part of this. I wrote him a letter. I said, explained to him why. I explained the political significance of this and how important it was for me at my age to be a part of this film that could revolutionize young people who had been dormant for 2 or 3 decades. And he gave the letter to Gary, and Gary employed me, and then we had further conversations and a longer exchange of letters that were paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs. And then he wrote those 3 scenes in the Rose Garden that were not in the book, that defined the character. He writes beautifully, Gary Ross, like a poet, you know, with such economy. And then this film, Francis Lawrence took over and was blissful to work with, absolutely blissful, and has made a wonderful film. A film that is not only for young people, not only for younger than young people, not only for young adults, but for adults. It's a film that will remind them of what a perilous situation we are in, that we must not ever be complacent, that we have to struggle against the oligarchy of privilege, which is what Coriolanus Snow represents, you know. I mean, Coriolanus Snow is a friend of David Koch.
Oh.
Or maybe he isn't.
First of all, welcome back to this world, both of you. I gotta start with your character. It seems like he's really growing throughout this, and he's facing a lot of... There's a bigger emotional toll on all these characters. Can you talk about going into that as an actor?
Well, I mean, I definitely think that Haymitch is more involved in the characters, more involved with Katniss and Peeta, and really cares.
Yeah.
And when he was first introduced to them, he was like, here's some more people that I don't want to care about, you know, because inevitably they're going to die. Once they've survived, and everything that's happened since has really invested my emotions into them. And so, you know, to get into the Quarter Quell with all these other, you know, hardcore killers is scary for my character, I think, and I'm really rooting for him, obviously.
It's such a great character. And with you, Liam, you have... we're seeing your relationship with Katniss expand. How do you find that kind of bond with Jennifer? Because it's a little bit of screen time, but I'm finding a really, really strong connection with you two.
Yeah, no, she's one of my best friends. She's such a good girl. She's one of the most fun people I've ever worked with, and you know, when we're shooting such serious, intense scenes like we do, it's nice to, you know, to relax and have someone like her where, you know, she's putting everyone on set at ease, you know, and she allows that comfort to be there. And I think it makes the work so much better because you stop thinking about any other thing that's going to happen afterwards. You're just focusing on what's right there, and she keeps you so on your toes all the time that you're just there with her. And you know, I think the world of her. She's an amazing actress, and she's such a good friend, and you know, terrific person to work with, and it just makes the work so much easier. And you don't have to fight for that connection because, you know, she's great.
This is a serious film, obviously. Do you find the humor? Are you guys able to kind of lighten
yeah.
the set, you know, a little
Oh,
bit?
constantly. You know, it really does come from the queen bee down. You know, she really creates a, you know, this incredible festive, fun space around. Like, so we're just constantly laughing. It's like being at work at a playground. And, and of course, Francis, you know, usually it comes from the lead and the director, and sometimes the producers, but you know, it's a trickle-down theory, and everyone else is having the fun based on how they do it, you know?
Francis allows it to happen too. He's one of the few directors that is very patient with so many crazy people on set, you know, a lot of very outspoken, passionate people and fun-loving people, but you know, he gets involved in it all as well, and I don't know, it makes the environment so much easier to work in. It makes the work very special too.
Okay, first of all, I'm going to start with you, because why didn't you wear one of these outfits for the interview? Because they look so comfortable.
Yeah, they're really comfortable. Exactly.
No,
I'm not. Honestly, they're like museum quality pieces. They're not even allowed out of like special handling.
oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I couldn't sit in most of them.
I don't know how you even walked in them.
Anything for my art.
Now, both of your characters, I mean, we saw this with your character early on. You were more sympathetic to Katniss, and you guys kind of bonded early on.
Yes.
It's even deeper here, even with you. Can you guys talk about the bonding?
In CINNA's situation, yes, they have this great relationship. There's a great trust. CINNA really has Katniss's back. And in this film, he's willing to go a step further and put his life on the line to make a statement that he obviously believes in, and he knows that he's putting that statement on the right person who can take it to the place it needs to be.
Yeah.
I just feel like Effie is used to her tributes going into the Hunger Games and not making it out. So the fact that she has not one but two victors to take care of, and you know, she really comes to care about them. I don't think she's ever actually even had the opportunity before this.
Yeah.
And then, you know, everything gets taken away from her, just like it's taken from them in a way that's never happened to her either. You know, she's at the height of the apex of her job and her fame at the top of the movie, and when the Quarter Quell gets announced and her victors are being taken back away, and, you know, to her that means it's over, and I think she realizes not only how unfair the games are, but how cruel they are.
There's definitely more of I think, an emotional impact with this film.
Absolutely, yeah. I think for our characters particularly, you know, we get to really reveal a lot more about ourselves in the movie about Effie and Cinna, but also the stakes are so much higher in this movie. Katniss is not just, you know, volunteering for her sister and protecting her family. She's now representing a whole nation.
You're already pretty stylish. Does this character, like, do any of your, I mean, you always dress, look at you right now. You're dressed pretty awesome. Does it,
Pretty simple. Yeah.
but that's awesome. Does any of that kind of, did you take any of that home, this kind of fashion designer? Is there any of that in Lenny?
Somehow, I mean, I've been doing that for a while now.
Yeah.
So, you know, but I definitely admire the work that Trish Somerville did.
Yeah.
She did a really great job. I've known her for many years. We've worked together in the past. And, you know, she brought it to another level.
Yeah.
Yeah. I stole one jacket.
You stole one jacket? That's it?
I mean, there's more of Lenny and Cinna than Cinna and Lenny, I think.
Okay. Okay, what about you with Effie?
She took all those dresses. They're at her house.
I stole everything.
Yeah.
Shh, don't tell
Good
anyone.
for Halloween, right?
I wish. No, I don't have any of them. Not a single stitch of clothing went home with me. And Effie's her own confection. She's like a bonbon in this movie. Just a little, I love her. I think she's such a fun person, and I'm really happy that I disappear and I let her shine.
So I did see the movie last night. I was able to see it. Can you guys talk about jumping into this world, which has already been established, but it's massive, and you got these great characters, by the way. What was it like stepping in with Jennifer and the gang and being a part of it?
Well, because they were all so incredibly warm and welcoming and just so down to earth and so rad, and they had already fell in love with each other so immensely that I think they were so excited to bring in new blood to kind of like, you know, make it interesting again for them. So we were kind of welcomed just with like wide arms, and just, it was, that transition was really easy. It was more actually realizing that we were gonna have to play these iconic characters that everyone was so obsessed with and had already, like, you know, drawn 7,000 different versions of what they looked like online, and that I was like, but, you know, at a certain point you kind of have to just step away from that and say, okay, I'm gonna create a 3-dimensional being, which is beyond and above anything a 2-dimensional book could create for them. So hopefully, you know, hopefully they like
justice.
it. I know.
Hopefully.
Yeah, you should see the fanfic I wrote. I mean, it's completely different.
I'm sure everyone wanted someone else for my part. I know.
No,
but-
you were perfect. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we'll
They're
see.
idiots.
It was me that was the problem.
No, but when my little sister was a giant fan of the novels, and I told her that I got the part, and she's like, "You don't even look like Joanna Mason." I was like, Thanks for the support. Like, come on. She wanted someone else cast. I'm not gonna say the name, but I was like, oh, I am gonna get you.
What about you? This is...
It's very true. It's actually happened. My sister spoke to me about it.
I know.
Oh, she's like, yeah, I would rather anyone play.
And it's just like, I'm glad you're doing it, but
But I suppose it is more difficult for family and friends who are big fans of the book
Yeah.
to then
Because she
see
knows
family.
me,
You know, it
yeah.
takes you out of it. doesn't
yeah,
it,
I think she was a
Yeah.
little like, I don't want to be taken out of one of my favorite book series. Like,
How dare you take that?
I know.
Yeah,
I
selfish.
totally messed it
Selfish.
up.
I liked your character, and I to be honest, I saw the stills and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna hate him. I'm gonna hate him, but there's
Aw.
something about I don't. I changed.
you're
'cause
honest.
I've never read the
Thank
books.
you.
I've never read the books, so for me
Okay.
it was like a new experience. What was it like for you to step into that role?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people had the same opinion.
Yeah.
Honestly, you know, there was a lot of negativity and sort of, I suppose, anxiety from a lot of the fans, and you know, it was my job to kind of prove them wrong. And as much as none of them have seen the film yet, you know, I can only hope that I haven't disappointed, and I did the best I could. I mean, it was a huge physical transformation, and mentally, you know, I had to go through some workouts as well. I feel it was
Yeah,
it was
like 5.5 months of
it was really
intensive training.
tough.
Wow.
But
Wow.
knowing where the character goes from this second film, you know, I think hopefully, you know, I'll be able to delve deeper, and hopefully the fans will follow.